I went to the local supermarket, Waitrose, just a few days ago. I had a few essentials to buy, but I saw there was fruit advertised. Plums. I thought, well, it's September. We're in Kent. Let's get one of these packets of plums. I got them home to discover they were produced in Spain. I simply couldn't believe it. Surely, if ever there was a time to support the fruit industry, it was in September. Well, perhaps that's one of many complaints that Guy Singh-Watson, the founder of Riverford Organic Farmers, has got about the supermarkets because, Guy, you're one of the pioneer of the idea of the vegetable box being delivered door to door. And you've written this Dear Supermarkets letter. It's time to get fair about farming. Now, we have over the years heard about this tussle between whether it's milk producers and supermarkets or whatever it is. What's prompted you to write this letter now?
It's seeing the farmers around me on their knees, and we did a piece of research. Sorry, it's Riverford. We did a bit of a piece of research, and found that in our sector, fruit and vegetables, 50% of farmers, 49% of farmers thought they might not be in business next year, and they cited, 75% of them cited the behaviour of supermarket buyers as being a leading factor. So we're really calling on the supermarkets to treat their suppliers more in the way that Riverford does, that shows some commitment to a long-term relationship. I mean, specifically, that they pay what they said they'd pay, they buy what they said they'd buy, they agree specifications in discussion with growers rather than imposing on them, and that they really invest in long-term relationships with their suppliers rather than every year there being this price negotiation, which if you're a penny out, you're liable to lose the contract, and that's the end of your business.
So you're basically saying they're bully boys?
I am, I'm afraid. You know, there are 6 major buyers, which account for about 85% of the market for farmers, and there are tens of thousands of farmers. It's not surprising with that imbalance of power, that farmers, effectively, as you say, get bullied.
You see, what surprises me about this is, this is, aside from the net zero debate, there is a lot more knowledge about food miles, a lot more conversation about the fact there's a benefit of buying things that are produced locally. There's quite a mood, if the price is reasonable, to buy British. And yet, how is it, when I bought those plums at Waitrose the other day, the sort of, produce of Spain was hidden in the bottom right corner? There's a disconnect here, it seems to me.
It is getting a little bit late for UK plums. But,
OK.
In general, I think the British public would like to know where their food has come from. They would like to have information. They'd even like to know who grew it and under what conditions. However, and I think farmers would like to tell that story, and they'd love to have their brand on their produce, but supermarkets have driven the wedge between British farmers and British producers, so that we really don't know where our food comes from. In fact, they've created their own sort of fake farms, sort of fantasy farms, fake brands, rather than have actually a real UK farmer. And the reason for that is, when it comes to that annual negotiation on price, they don't want you to want to buy specifically from that farm, because under the way it is at the moment, they can just say, oh, you're a penny more expensive, we'll go to the next farm.
Yeah, or abroad.
Or abroad, yeah.
Which they do in quite a significant way.
Well, the self-sufficiency in food in the UK has fallen since I started farming in the 80s, when it was stood at about 80%, to mid to low 60s today.
Why?
Well, I mean, we are a high-wage economy, and for some things, obviously, it's climate related. In some instances, it's regulation, though there are plenty of other economies that are equally regulated with farming that do the same way. Yes, I mean, it is just easier to go abroad for many things much of the time. And I suppose, to some extent, changing tastes of people wanting to eat tomatoes, peppers and aubergines rather than cauliflowers and cabbages.
Right, yeah. And I mean, I suppose if you buy at a supermarket, you're not buying seasonally either, are you? Because they want tomatoes there all year round. You
walk into a supermarket and you lose any sense of the seasons. Yes. I mean, it's a very sterile, regimented environment that bears no relationship to a farm.
Now, you've got involved, as I say, as a pioneer with food boxes. Yep. We've got stores closing, high streets closing, people buying more stuff online. Is that the way forward for British farming?
I think it could be. I think anything that gives farmers an alternative to those big six buyers, that sort of empowers them. So that could be a veg box, could be a farmer's market, could be independent retailers, could be new entrants. Actually, I welcome Aldi and Lidl. You know, I think they have stirred it up a bit and brought an alternative. Yeah, they have, and they work on much lower margins, which I have to have a degree of respect for.
Now, we've had a response from Morrison's, and I'll just use Morrison's in this instance because they were so pleased you were coming on this programme. They really were. And they say, we've worked with generations of farmers. We launched our For Farmers range. It's been there since 2016. And yes, they accept there's a careful balance between keeping prices accessible for customers and ensuring farmers and growers are getting fair returns. Your response to Morrison's?
Why not actually just name the farmers rather than their For Farmers range? It sounds like another own brand to me. Why not empower the farmer by actually saying where it's coming from and naming the farmer on the pack rather than a full farmer's
One piece
range.
of good news. One piece of good news today, out of what Rishi said, that we're not going to have taxes being put on meat. That must be that must be a little bit of good news.
We do actually have a petition asking for Parliament to review the Grocery Code of Conduct and to make it more legally enforceable. And if people agree with our position and want to support British farmers, they can find that at getfairaboutfarming.co.uk. And it's going really well. Really hope to get to the 100,000 signatories and see it debated in Parliament.
I'll sign it. Guy Singh-Watson, I wish you all the very best, and I genuinely mean that.